I'm the most spoiled little princess in the finance world. My dad's the richest guy around, my mom's a top designer, and my sister's a superstar actress. Everyone's super jealous. I basically have the main character script from a feel-good novel. Then I got kidnapped. When the kidnapper was about to cut me to pieces, he said right in my ear, "Your family hired me for this." Wanna guess which one of them? Fast forward 5 years. I came back from the dead and knocked on my family's door again. Today, Stella is winning the Best Actress award, and the entertainment world is buzzing. Every major media outlet is talking about her, and she's trending like crazy. Everyone's full of praise for Stella. Since her debut, she's had 0 scandals. She's talented, she can act, and she works hard. Totally amazing. Some sharp-eyed netizens quickly uncovered Stella's impressive family background. The Smith family's precious gem. The Smiths of Wall Street, royalty among elite families. This year, Jason Smith just claimed the top spot on Wall Street's rich list. His wife, Suki, is a top domestic designer, and her original clothing line is adored by the upper crust. Not only that, but the couple shares a harmonious relationship and keeps a low profile. They hardly ever show up at public events except for charity galas. The internet goes wild again. Everyone says Stella truly deserves the title of Wall Street's little princess. But the internet has no memory. They forgot that 5 years ago, the Smiths had another daughter. Her name was Jenny. After the award ceremony, it's Stella's celebration party. She's wearing a stunning dress, showing off her curves and standing in the middle of the social scene, beaming like she's the sun. They say fame makes you glow. 5 years since I last saw Stella, her career has only skyrocketed, and she's only gotten more beautiful. I'm standing barefoot outside the ballroom, looking disheveled, and the reporters around keep whispering about me. Under their scrutiny, I finally knock on the door. Zoe, the Smith's housekeeper, answers the door. She freezes when she sees my face. "Are you?" I choke up and reply, "Zoe, it's me." Zoe studies me and gasps. Suddenly, she starts yelling excitedly, "Sir, it's the eldest miss. The eldest miss is back. It's been a whole 5 years. Jenny is finally back." 5 years ago, a kidnapping case rocked the finance world. The victim was none other than the princess of the Smith family, Jenny. Usually, kidnappers go after wealthy families for ransom, but this kidnapper announced publicly he wanted nothing. He put on a demented kidnapping stream online. In a dark basement, Jenny was crying with money stuffed in her mouth. It was all like some twisted horror show. Barely hanging on, Jenny bit down hard and believed the Smiths would come and save her. After all, they loved her so much. In the end, the kidnapper turned off the stream and revealed a secret. "Jenny, you know you're adopted, right? But it was your family who hired me, so no one's coming for you. Wanna try guessing who? Get it right, and I'll let you live." He never gave Jenny a chance to answer, just slit her throat. Even in her last moments, sweet, innocent Jenny didn't shed a single tear. What was she thinking? Probably just endless despair. Her loving dad, gentle mom, bubbly sister, one of them wanted her dead. Since being taken from the orphanage, she'd felt so much warmth from them. The Smiths gave her a lavish lifestyle, family love. It all felt like a beautiful dream. She was so grateful and loved them cautiously, because really, Jenny just wanted a family of her own. She never imagined, never understood, why the people she loved would want her dead. You're probably curious, if the real Jenny died, then who am I? I was one of the viewers of that brutal stream. I was Jenny's only sister before she got adopted. Back then, my name was Lisa, but the day my sister died, my name became Jenny. I was brought to the visitor's room. In front of me were my sister's 3 closest people, the wealthy Jason, his wife Suki, and their younger daughter Stella. Their eyes all landed on me. Suki covered her mouth, her voice trembling. "Sweetheart, is it really you?" Jason supported her, and a few lines of age showed on his handsome face. Coming out of his shock, his eyes turned red. "Jenny, am I seeing right? Jenny's back." My eyes were red, as if from crying. I clutched my clothes, not willing to step forward. "It's me." They tried to hug me, but I pushed away. Turning around, tears fell from my eyes. "Dad, Mom, don't touch me, I'm dirty. What they did to me, I'm not fit to be a Smith daughter." That sentence dragged everyone back to some filthy memory. Suki finally couldn't hold back and hugged me, sobbing quietly. Jason lifted his hand to pat my head. He softened his voice to comfort me. "No matter what happened, you're always a Smith daughter. After the stream cut off, you went missing, but you're back now, and that's good. As for all those unhappy times, we'll leave them behind." Suki wiped her tears too and comforted. "Sweetheart, forget about all the unhappy stuff. Mom and Dad always love you." I was full of tears too, hugging them as tight as I could. What a touching and warm scene. Those words "Mom" and "Dad always love you" felt like a curse. If parents truly love their daughter, how could they just move on after something like this? When Jenny was attacked, Jason was worried the scandal would tarnish the family's image. So, he decided to handle it quietly. In less than 3 days, he discreetly sent someone to close the case, stopping any further search for Jenny's whereabouts. The public only knew about a missing sister, not that she had been brutally murdered. At that time, Suki's design career hit rock bottom. She used the news of her sister's disappearance to get back into the public eye and launched a mother-daughter themed clothing line, which became popular again. Whoever hired the kidnappers were still beneficiaries. To me, they are no different from the ones who killed my sister. Ha, it's hilarious, a sudden, sharp voice interrupted. Stella stood at a distance, watching us with a grim face. She raised her hand, lighting up a woman's cigarette. Aren't you afraid she's a fraud? Need me to remind you? Someone pretended to be Jenny before. If she has an ulterior motive, wanting to mingle into the Smith family, what if she spills some dirt later? My career would be ruined. And those reporters outside, they all got her on camera. Instead of wasting time, think about how I'm supposed to explain at tomorrow's press conference. In her rage, she looked nothing like the sweet and healing girl her fans adored. She gave me a doubtful look, appearing very anxious. I smirked internally, but outwardly, I kept my head down, pretending to be scared. Sorry, should I not be here? Seeing me so hurt, Jason frowned and scolded Stella. Stella, you're scaring her. I trust my instincts. She is your sister. Stella scoffed. Sister, what if Jenny's been dead long ago? My heart skipped. It felt like I almost grasped something only to have it slip away. But I kept up my terrified act. Stella shrieked, piercingly. Why doesn't anyone think about my feelings? She's just been missing for 5 years, but my whole career could be destroyed. A missing daughter is still a daughter. Does the one who stayed with you all these years not count? Just missing for 5 years. The suffering Jenny might have faced in those years. How could she speak of it so lightly? Stella's cold demeanor made my anger boil. I clutched my ears and shrank back instinctively. Suki harshly reprimanded. Stella, stop it. Your sister can't handle this. We'll find out if she's the real Jenny. Truth can't be faked. Suddenly, my appearance seemed to make everyone stand against Stella. She crushed her half-smoked cigarette, her mesmerizing eyes glaring at me with disgust. Stella, as if recalling something, walked over. She leaned close, her smile was tinged with danger. You say you're my sister. Imposter, then tell me, what did Jenny use to call me? Her beautiful eyes gleamed with expectation, thinking I'd slip up. Jason and Suki turned to me with mixed emotions. Their look showed a lack of complete trust. But, this was expected. I feigned confusion. Lisa, what are you talking about? Stella's face stiffened, her expression slightly unnatural. You're definitely better than those previous fools. At least, you know I changed my name. The name change in the Smith family was known to only a few. Jenny and Stella. Back then, my sister wrote letters to me, always referring to the other sister as Lisa, which made me jealous for a long time. Returning to the Smith family, I had paid attention to every detail. Nicknames, no big deal. But Stella changed her tone. Still, it's no big feat. Don't think it'll make me believe you. I gave a wry smile. Lisa, I don't understand why you're so hostile. If my return truly bothers you, I'll just leave. I got up and headed straight for the door. By then, my bare feet were covered with blisters and wounds. My legs were bruised. I walked with a limp, looking quite pitiful. As I passed Jason, I staggered, almost falling. He happened to catch sight of my dirted feet. That's enough, Stella. Jason's eyes flickered, suddenly scolding. Let your sister stay, we'll discuss the rest later. I moved back into the room that used to be my sister's. The settings seemed untouched since her time. Memories from before started flooding back. When I first got to the orphanage, with my combative and troublesome nature, I wasn't well liked. What did those teachers say about me? Oh, they said I had congenital emotional deprivation, called me a little monster, and told others to stay away from me. To fit in, to look like a normal person, I started mimicking people's micro-expressions, observing and learning their ways. I thought I hid it well, but I was exposed. One day, the class's pet hamster was found dead. When the teacher asked, no one confessed. Everyone was scared and crying. Except me, I showed no emotion. Based on that alone, the teacher accused me. I said, I didn't do it. The teacher yelled, a cold-hearted monster like you, always lying. Who else could it be? My sister stepped up. She bravely defended me and said we were on duty together the whole time that day, and I didn't kill the mouse. It turns out, being strongly supported feels like this. So much so that when my sister asked my name, I instinctively told the truth. No one's ever given me a name. Alright, from now on I'll call you Lisa. kind-hearted Lisa. I'm Jenny. I'll be your sister from now on. She squatted down, helped me dry my hands, and told me seriously, Lisa, you're not a monster. It's just that when the gods kissed your forehead, they forgot to tell you it was love. Her explanation was so beautiful. I stood there, feeling a strange dull pain in my chest. I actually lied to her. I did kill that mouse. Its owner kept using that little beast to bully me, letting it crawl into my clothes and skirts, scratching my skin. I was angry, so I destroyed. Jenny became my sister, and the only shackle for this monster. From then on, I never had any violent thoughts toward anyone or anything. I clumsily learned from my sister how to love this world. Now, my sister is gone, which means my shackle is broken too. But without my sister, wasn't I a monster all along? The next day, my name unexpectedly hit #1 on trending. I looked at the comments and smirked. The Smith family thought money could solve everything, but they forgot there are some paparazzi, just as crazy as me, who don't want money, just fame. I contacted them beforehand, which is why I chose to show up at the Smiths yesterday. Whether I'm the real Jenny or not, if someone snapped a picture, the story of the Smiths' daughter returning would spread like wildfire. The bigger the fuss outside, the more likely the Smiths are to keep me. On the other side, Stella was furious about missing the limelight. Her anger even spilled over at the dinner table. She said with a sour face, Dad, you said you'd sort everything out for me. Jason calmly wiped his mouth. I told you I didn't agree with you going into showbiz, wanted you to take over the family business properly, but you wanted to do the opposite. And what happened? Every time something comes up, you can't handle it and need family help. Stella pouted and stayed silent. Seeing this, Jason softened his tone and reassured her, all right. It's just a few viral videos. Once the online buzz dies, it's nothing. Besides, your mom's already made arrangements with the magazines. You're on the covers for August and September. Being on the covers of 2 magazines is the ultimate honor for actresses. This promise was enough to make Stella beam with joy. She cheered, oh yeah, I love Mom and Dad. But what about my sister? Since your sister's back, she has to appear in the public eye sooner or later. It makes no difference in timing. Jason cut in. The important thing is the timing of your sister's appearance. He truly embodied that saying, businessmen always prioritize profit. No matter what, Jason always considers how to maximize benefits first. Stella asked reluctantly, then what about today's press conference? I held the knife and fork in my hand and shyly spoke up. Actually, I have an idea. Jason and Stella looked at me in surprise. Award-winning actress Stella's press conference went as planned, but this time, there was a new face present. Right now, the Smith sisters were both wearing gowns designed by Suki, looking like beautiful dolls. Stella affectionately hugged me by the shoulder. We looked just like real sisters. I held the mic, stood on the stage, and slowly spoke. Hello everyone, I'm Jenny. There have always been many rumors online about me. The most absurd is probably that I disappeared. Today, I'm here to clarify. I didn't disappear. I was studying abroad for 5 years and just returned yesterday. Back then, there were 12 viewers on that live stream. Besides me hacking into the Smiths' computer, others were all high society elites from Wall Street, and also Jason's friends. Because of this, he could keep them quiet and not leak any information for years. I smiled and continued, however, I still want to thank everyone. It's precisely because of everyone's concern that the Smiths realized there's a special group missing children. So, the Smiths established a new charity fund in Stella's name to help missing children. We aim to assist every family looking for their kids. Meanwhile, Stella raised her hand gracefully and unveiled the red cloth behind us. Star Search Charity Foundation. As these big words appeared dramatically, Stella's gentle voice echoed, every lost child is a fallen star. The atmosphere in the crowd rose to its peak. Everyone was moved by Stella's words, some even shedding tears. Applause thundered through the room. This spectacle of capitalism reached its climax. Jason and Suki sat in the audience, watching me with approving smiles. Stella excitedly hugged me. She joyfully called me her sister. Sis, you're a PR genius. If you hadn't told me, I would have believed you were studying abroad for 5 years. I smiled on the outside, but was stung by Stella's last words. If my sister was still alive, she would have had a brilliant life these 5 years too. Sister, this is just the beginning. After all, people fall harder when they reach the top, right? As soon as the Star Search project was announced, the Smith family's stocks shot up. Even Stella's Facebook followers surged by tens of thousands, making her the most stable rising star. The relationship between the Smith family and me visibly got closer. For especially Stella, she's clearly starting to trust me more. She invites me for shopping and sometimes even asks for my opinion on her projects. I presented a few ideas to her, and she couldn't stop complimenting them, implemented them right away. Little did they know, during all these years of laying low, I've been collecting every bit of information about the Smith family online and built a database. I know them better than they know themselves. How could I not come up with a plan that would satisfy Stella? She even hinted at wanting me on her team. After all, Jason was initially against her entering the entertainment industry, and Stella is eager to prove herself to him. I expressed my reluctance. What? Dad wants you to intern there? HMPH, with so many high-achieving elite folks over there, why is he stealing my people? Stella was fiddling with something, venting about Jason's authoritarian ways. I noticed she was holding a small bottle of pills. Stella, what's up with those pills? Oh, it's nothing. Just something to boost my energy. I'm always so tired. Stella avoided eye contact, clearly not being truthful. I didn't push further, but was curious. I never heard my sister mention anything about Stella being unwell. Why would she need supplements if she's fine? Stella was about to say something when her phone suddenly rang. She saw who it was, frowned, and walked away, deliberately avoiding me. I wisely stayed put. Soon, Stella suddenly raised her voice. What did you say? He's dead. Realizing her outburst, she quickly shut up. Even after hanging up, her beautiful face was pale as a sheet. Stella paced around anxiously, opened that milky white bottle, poured out a few tablets, and swallowed them quickly. I watched it all, smiling softly. That day, Stella was clearly off. Until dinner time, when the Smiths gathered at the table. Suki handed me an envelope. Inside were forged documents of a fabricated 5-year study abroad experience and a brand new ID. All to cover up the lies from the press conference, crafted flawlessly by the Smith family. They used your old photos for the student files, afraid someone might find them out. Look at you at 18, you seemed chubbier than now, so cute. She smiled warmly, as if recalling fond memories. Yeah, pretty cute. I thanked her with a smile, gently rubbing that small photo. Because it was Jenny, it was adorable no matter what. Does being cute matter? Being chubby is just an excuse to comfort oneself. Stella suddenly interrupted. She snidely remarked, being pretty is what makes people like you. Stella nonchalantly turned on the TV, deliberately setting the volume high. Breaking news. This morning, police found a male corpse in East Park. Identity currently unknown, but when discovered, there were numerous bills scattered around. She slightly paused holding the remote. Stella switched channels. Jason, who hadn't spoken all along, suddenly said, turn it back. Dad, we're eating. Hearing this kind of news is disgusting. She pouted, trying to sound cute. Even Suki chimed in to support her, smiling apologetically. Honey, the kids have a point, I said, turn it back. Jason put down his chopsticks, face emotionless. He didn't show anger, but the mother and daughter instantly fell silent. I could sense their fear of Jason. The so-called perfect Smith family seemed shattered at that moment. We finished watching that news clip under this awkward tension. Jason's face turned grim as he switched off the TV. Stella gripped her dress tightly. Dad, come to my study. Meanwhile, I kept eating calmly, as if I didn't hear anything, because I knew who the dead guy was. The man known as Felix. I was the one who killed him. Just like what Felix did to my sister back then. I made him suffer in agony and beg before finally ending his life. In his last moments, he shivered, and I was so thrilled that I trembled all over. Before he died, I gently wiped away his fearful tears, softly saying, make sure you go to hell. Otherwise, it will upset her if she sees you in heaven. Actually, if the police paid enough attention, they'd find my little surprise. The $13 bills next to the body. Every single serial number matched those found next to my sister's body back then. Felix's death was a carefully crafted bait by me. It was also the first gift I'd prepared for the Smith family. After dinner, I went back to my room and locked the door, took out my hidden laptop, quickly put on headphones, and adjusted the signal. Voices from Jason's study came through the earpiece. Stella, did you kill Felix? My heart started pounding uncontrollably. Finally, someone took the bait. It wasn't me. Stella defended herself furiously. Dad, I admit, it was wrong to have Felix kidnap Jenny back then, but I already confessed my mistake. I also promised I wouldn't make a wrong move again. Now I'm in the public eye. Why would I commit murder? Just as I had suspected. My hands clenched tightly into fists. The room echoed with the sharp sound of a slap. Jason yelled, useless. If you'd just thought a bit back then, it wouldn't have blown up like that. I reported it to the police, because you wouldn't tell the truth, almost dragging the Smith family into it. How dare you bring it up? Honey, calm down. Suki was super eager to plead for Stella. At least with Felix gone, that's a good thing. Back then, we showered Jenny with too much attention. Stella's our real daughter, so it's no wonder she felt unbalanced. She's been through a lot. Don't be so harsh on her. I recall Jason's first fortune came with the help of Suki's family. Even though Suki's not as influential now, my sister always spoke of the Smiths as a loving couple. Something feels off. Maybe there's more to the Smith family than I know. I slowly turned up the volume. When did this bastard child become my daughter? What? Stella seemed stunned. Jason sneered. You should know better than me how this kid came to be. Suki tried to keep her voice steady. I don't understand what you're saying. A year ago, Stella got hurt filming an action scene and needed a blood transfusion. Do you need me to explain further, or should I let everyone know I've been played for a fool? It dawned on her why her husband's attitude had changed drastically over the past year. She thought all this time, she hadn't been doing enough to keep him happy. Turns out, it was this. Jason always put profit first. And now Suki and Stella's value was just maintaining the Smith family facade. After a long silence, Stella broke down, crying out hysterically, "No, I am Dad's daughter. Mom, you're lying, right?" The other side of the wiretap fell into chaos. This unexpected turn of events left me reeling, but also thrilled. See, fate has a funny way of being fair. It gave the Smiths a daughter, only to take one away, because of their vile hypocrisy. There's a sense of karma in the air. I was satisfied as I turned off the signal. Maybe it's time to pick up the pace. Humming a little tune, I tapped away at my keyboard to send a message. Stella, I've made up my mind. I'm willing to join your team. Get ready for my second gift. Dear Stella, taking down the Smith family won't be easy, but people are just complex social animals, which means everyone has their own Achilles heel. Like Stella, who's out of cards to play, the calmer I appear, the more threatened she feels. I'll casually mention how Jason relies heavily on me and how I'm not eager to work for the Smith company. Stella's getting more anxious, and her addiction to those pills is getting worse. She seems to pop them like candy whenever she's feeling low. Yet, Stella never fails to throw some snark at me. When that happens, I'd look at her innocently. Stella, genetically speaking, you're the true Smith daughter. How could an outsider like me ever compete with you? She'd pause, mumbling to herself, you're right. I am the real daughter of the Smiths. So no matter how clever you try to be, you'll never replace me. Stella still doesn't realize what her situation really is, but that's okay. Her new show's press conference is right around the corner. Today marks Stella's first major lead role since winning Best Actress. With loads of media and fans in attendance, she's put her all into it, maybe for another reason. She's eager to make Jason see her worth. The venue was aglow with lights, setting the place glittering, much like Stella's dreams for her career. The new Best Actress Stella took the stage, radiant in a cheongsam. During the Q&A, she smiled gently, all right, I'll start drawing lots. Let's see who the lucky first questioner of today is. She reached into the box. Number 24. Everyone turned, searching for the person holding number 24. A reporter raised his hand, took the mic and asked, Miss Stella, do you know Mr. Felix? Up on stage, Stella's smile froze. Sorry, I don't know him. Have you followed the East Park case from a few days ago? Felix is the deceased in that case. Her face darkened. Please refrain from asking irrelevant questions. But the audience was already buzzing, murmuring and speculating about Felix's connection to Stella. Stella, you're sweating a lot. Why is that? Stella turned around, startled. I stood backstage, just a few steps away, smiling at her. Questions from the floor continued. A few days ago, we received anonymous tips suggesting you've had significant financial transactions with Felix, and even met him offline. Stella steadied herself, answering, Oh, now that you mention it, he was a fan of mine, and we did meet once before. She covered her mouth, feigning sorrow. Oh my, I can't believe this happened to him. The reporter raised the mic for a final, piercing question. The anonymous tipper also claimed Felix was the mastermind behind an old kidnapping case. Is your financial transaction and meeting related to this incident? Stella, drenched in sweat, stood on stage. I watched her struggling form. Today, Stella's cheongsam was designed by Suki, embroidered with butterflies ready to soar. Now, Stella's slight trembling looked as if those butterflies were lifeless, fighting death. Let's rewind to 3 days ago. I got in touch with the paparazzi I used to work with. I just asked her one thing. If there's a story that's gonna blow up the entertainment industry, would she dare to take it? That's how everything happened today. I don't know where you heard those rumors, but I can tell you clearly, there's nothing like that. She asked, flustered, do you have any evidence? The moment Stella finished talking, all the lights went out. Even the curtain above us dropped, isolating us from the audience's view. People started murmuring, wondering why the power went out. I walked up to Stella, turned off her mic, and lightly caressed her neck. Stella looked at me with a chill in her eyes. "Hey, Jenny, why are you touching me?" My cold fingers lingered on Stella's throat. "Yeah, right here." She quickly pushed me away. I gently traced her skin, slowly tightening my grip. "You had Felix kidnap me back then, and his knife landed right here. I was cut into pieces, blood everywhere. For every day and night over these 5 years, every time you appeared on TV, I thought of that day. Lisa, it really hurt, sis." I suddenly tightened my grip. "What do you think, sis? How should I punish you? Are you a ghost or a person? Get away." Stella's beautiful face twisted in fear. She suddenly realized something. "So, you were the one sending those emails." She was right. For 5 years, every time Stella won an award, she'd receive my congratulatory email. It contained the footage of that kidnapping live stream. When Felix killed my sister, Stella was absent from the scene, because she was terrified. She was trying to dodge the issue, hoping to downplay her guilt. Even though each time I sent those videos, it felt like I was tormenting myself. I wanted to leave my sister's mark on her every happy day. Stella couldn't forget what she had done. I became a nightmare that'd cling to her forever. What's more, I'd always include my most sincere wishes. "Dear Stella, hurry and become a big star." Stella, standing before me now, clearly struggled to control her emotions. She started flipping through her clothes for her meds, but froze. She was in a cheongsam today, no meds on her. I sighed. "If your fans knew what you were really taking, do you think they'd still like you?" With my constant jabs, Stella's breathing got heavier as she gripped my arm. "No, please." Suddenly, she dropped to her knees. "Jenny, I'm sorry. Please help me figure out how to get through today. I can't lose everything." "All right, I'll help you." I smiled, pulling a small vial from my pocket. I emptied the pills onto the floor. In the dark, Stella ignored everything, stuffing them into her mouth like they were treasures. Finally, I pressed the tiny remote control in my hand. The large curtain in front of us lifted. The lights suddenly flooded the whole venue. At that moment, everyone saw Stella hunched on the floor, mouth slightly open, her movements strange. The crowd gasped, pulling out their phones to record. "Whoa, record this quick. Big news. Grab some popcorn. I want to break the first headline." Just like that cruel live stream back then. Now, Stella's embarrassing dog-like posture, her desperate swallowing on stage, was spreading everywhere. I stood amid her ruins, turning away from the crowd, silently telling her, "Dear Stella, you finally made it as a big star. Oh, by the way, today's act should earn you another Best Actress award." Stella's situation blew up across the internet. She's not just a murder suspect now. She's a drug-abusing actress taken by the police for questioning. Jason came to see me, which didn't surprise me, but as soon as I entered the study, I sensed something was off. Jason didn't look pleased. "Dad." I stood respectfully. Jason raised his hand and threw a document in front of me. "Anything you'd like to explain?" It was a DNA test report. The name Jenny was written for the tested person, but the results showed my DNA didn't match with Jenny at all. This meant that Jason figured out I was a fake. Jason really was a sly fox. I kept my face neutral, but my mind raced, thinking how to deal with this. The revenge isn't over. This can't be discovered now. Got it. I stuffed the report back into the folder. After a pause, I slowly spoke. "Dad, I'm not Jenny." Jason smirked, probably not expecting me to admit it right away. "Who are you? What's your purpose for infiltrating the Smith family?" He moved from behind the desk, gradually approaching me, and firmly grabbed my neck. Air was gradually leaving my chest, and I forced myself to breathe. "I'm Lisa's good friend from the orphanage." Jason raised his eyebrows, looking surprised. "Ever since the day Lisa got adopted by the Smiths, I've always been jealous of her. So I deliberately got close to her, built a good relationship, all just to take her place one day." My face started changing color. I held Jason's hands tightly, forcing broken words from my throat. Jason watched me with interest. "Go on." I slumped to the ground, clutching my neck. "If you don't believe me, you can check my records at Angel Orphanage. I'm telling the truth." There was a hint of approval in his eyes. "You have no leverage. So why are you negotiating with me?" I smirked, meeting Jason's gaze without fear. "I've had enough of being broke, and I'll admit I'm vain. I just want money. Maybe my motives for standing here aren't too different from those imposters before me, but I'm the only one who made it this far, right?" Of course. I didn't reveal my real reason. Considering that neither of his daughters are his own, Jason would definitely cut ties with Stella and choose me, given his nature. I have to thank the Smith family's last in, First out policy for that insight. No matter your place in the family or blood relation, everything boils down to an exchange of interests to them. Looks polished on the outside, but is truly bare underneath. That's the survival rule in high society. Stella saw through it, but still wished for love from this twisted soil. I'm more aware than her. Only relationships with vested interests make them feel secure and comfortable. Jason chuckled softly, showing a suddenly paternal face. Jenny, you've improved a lot these 5 years. Welcome home, darling. With Jason's trust regained, I seemed to have replaced Stella as the Smith family's tool for appearances. We appeared together in public like the closest family trio. When asked about Stella, Jason would always mournfully declare that he wouldn't shield her if she made a mistake and would let her face the consequences. His words always carried hints. He knew how to manipulate the media, making them his powerful mouthpiece. Public opinion shifted in his favor, painting him as a poor father dragged down by his daughter. I couldn't help but laugh at those ridiculous comments. Is Jason a dog? Front leg or hind leg? It makes no difference. And the truth showed he was indeed a dog. Stella faced a public investigation, but privately, Jason had someone pull her out, claiming mental health issues. He asked for my input. I suggested sending Stella to a Smith-owned convalescent home. More accurately, it's a mental hospital. Even if she went genuinely mad there, it wouldn't matter, because no one cares anymore. The only one who might still care is her biological mom, Suki. Suki would sneak to visit Stella, pretending nothing happened even after crying her eyes out. But I'm aware of her hatred towards me. I feigned ignorance of her venomous looks while silently counting down to an approaching date. After so many years, Financial Circle Princess Jenny's birthday party was once again a hot topic. Jenny, at this party, I'll announce you're in charge of the star-seeking project. It's your first stage. Don't disappoint me. Recalling Jason's promise, I chuckled. He wanted to show me trust, but also held on tight. Still, it was enough. For this birthday event, I only prepared 12 VIP spots, keeping the plan hush-hush and media-free. The seats would be auctioned within the circle. The highest bidders would come. Jason approved of my approach. After all, the wealthy love this kind of money game. Being part of such a spectacle is like a status symbol. At that moment, the wealthy crowd entered the banquet hall, laughing and chatting in their gorgeous outfits. They'd hand over phones and receive their party masks, as per the rules. The party was about to begin when a flustered Suki showed up. Honey, Mom almost ran late. I'm so sorry. I noticed the sweat on her forehead, knowing exactly why she was late. But I smiled anyway. Mom, do you not care about me because I'm not your own daughter? Suki paused mid-mask. What are you talking about? I was just a little late, that's all. Or do you now feel bold enough to teach me? Since you got backing. Her demeanor turned ice cold, her mask slipping. I took the mask from Suki, smiling more sweetly. I was joking, Mom. Don't get mad. Looking at Suki's hostile eyes, my thoughts drifted to my sister. Whenever she talked about family, her voice couldn't hide the happiness. My sister used to say, Lisa, today I tasted Mom's soup for the first time. I couldn't help but cry when I picked up the bowl. That's what having parents feels like. You don't need to earn love. They give it unconditionally. Thanks for loving me. I want to make them proud. My naive sister. She had no idea the gifts had a hidden price, costing her life. I suddenly asked Suki a question. Mom, do you remember the chicken soup you made me when I first came to the Smiths? Suki froze, then mocked. You've sure gathered a lot for a fake. Did that orphan tell you? She really trusts you. Alright, I'll be honest with you. I've never really cooked a meal myself. Back in the day, seeing that kid get all emotional over a bowl of chicken soup was something. She laughed so hard tears were rolling down her face. The chicken soup was what was left after feeding the dog. Who knew she'd think it was something special? Honestly, some people are just born low. Even if they are adopted into a wealthy family, they're low at the core. Her voice got stuck in her throat. I looked down at the knife in my hand. Suki covered the long scar on the corner of her mouth, screaming, Jenny, you're insane. I responded coldly. Are you done talking? A traitor to their own partner has the nerve to call someone else low. It wasn't her unfit for your filthy family. It was your family unfit for her. Tears blurred my vision. I saw Suki's hands as she suddenly smirked menacingly. What are you gonna do? I just lifted my heel and pressed down. Suki let out a blood-curdling scream. Mom, I'm wearing that mother-daughter themed dress you designed back then today. Do I look good in it? Too bad before I ruin your hands. You can't tailor the perfect funeral clothes for your own daughter and husband. It's truly a pity. I gracefully lifted my dress when I was done. Looking at Suki passed out cold, I spoke with regret. When the party kicked off, Jason mingled among the elites, gradually heightening the atmosphere. The clock struck 7. I changed into a bright red dress, made my way onto the stage, and raised a glass to speak. Thank you all for coming to my birthday party. 5 years ago, everyone gathered here like this to witness my sister's kidnapping live. I smirked, eyeing those 12 familiar faces below. That's right. Today, I've gathered all 12 who watched my sister along with Jason and Suki under the guise of a birthday bash. No one knew how long I've waited for this day. After the live stream got cut, you must have been curious about what happened. Felix murdered her brutally. Stella hired him, but those who dropped the case and profited, they're all here today. Jason's face twisted as he yelled from below, Jenny, what nonsense are you speaking? He discovered he couldn't even lift a hand, slumped over in his chair. The other guests shared his struggle, horrified to find the same. Because, I spiked the drinks. And what about you? Just a bunch of onlookers. Some laughed in front of the camera. Some secretly saved the footage to reminisce or satisfy their own desires. I calmed down, but my voice edged sharper. Why do all of you get to move forward with your lives, while my sister is frozen at 20? That's not fair. You all deserve to die. I approached Jason first, probably the first time I've seen such shock on his face. Who are you? I softly replied, Lisa. He dumbly repeated the name. After a while, he said, Lisa, isn't that Jenny's original name? I picked up the knife nearby, answering patiently. You got it wrong. She wasn't Lisa. Honestly, I didn't lie about meeting her at the orphanage, which is why you couldn't dig up anything on me. The only lie was, I never envied her. I wanted her to be happier than anyone in the world. And initially, when you drew straws, you picked me. Nostalgia overwhelmed me. I thought I was being clever, thinking I could give her a good life by swapping our names. I finally broke down crying. Yeah, it was my supposed bright idea that doomed my sister. All these years, what carried me on this long path of revenge, besides hate, was infinite guilt. If I could, I wish it were me who died. I could never forgive those who treated her cruelly. Nor could I forgive myself, who in the name of love, dragged her to hell. Murder is my dark redemption. The air became saturated with the smell of gasoline, and with it, the scent of something burning grew stronger. The fuel, which I prepared earlier, was working as planned. I wiped my tears, softly humming a tune, as I started counting. 1 cut, 2 cuts, 3 cuts. None were fatal, but they were enough to make Jason wish for death. He pleaded through tears, Lisa, spare me. I'll give you a lot of money. Didn't you say you were done with hardships? I can send you overseas. I frowned in annoyance, gestured for him to quiet down. Sure, keep it down. If it gets out, Smith family stocks might plummet again. Swiftly, I made the final cut. Jason gasped his last, eyes wide open, dead. Out of the group of guests, a familiar face staggered forward. Jenny, I'll kill you. Stella's furious face appeared in my sight. She came at me with a weapon, backlit by flames. I chuckled. I figured Suki would sneak Stella in, no matter what. Good. It's finally coming to an end. I looked up at the moon outside the window, feeling a peace I hadn't in ages. Sister, if I turn to ash tonight, find me first in your next life. The ending. It's been almost a year since the horrendous fire at the Smiths' house. 15 people died in that blaze. Word is, the Smiths' eldest daughter just happened to give all the staff the day off. So all the victims were big shots from the elite circles of North Beijing. Rumor has it that Stella, the Smith family's second daughter, went crazy after a scandal. She supposedly escaped from the police station, committed murders at a birthday party, and then burned down her own house. In the end, she perished in the fire too. The only survivor was Jenny, the tough and decisive eldest daughter of the Smith family. Funny enough, even as the sole heir, Jenny had no plans to rebuild the Smith legacy. Instead, she donated all the assets, claiming she wanted to give back to society. All Jenny kept was the Starseek charity project, which she renamed Kindness. She said that's the only thing she wanted to do. In the following years, Jenny seemed to vanish, keeping a low profile. Occasionally, people heard how the Pure Kindness Foundation helped reunite families with lost children and set up many kindness orphanages. Everyone said Jenny was a good person, but no one really knew. Back then, Jenny knew Lisa had killed a little mouse, but she still reached out to Lisa, who was all thorns, wanting to be her sister. Jenny wanted to heal her, to save her. She wanted to pull Lisa out from her muddy hell and slowly bring her into the light. Because Jenny believed there's no such thing as people and monsters. Love, she thought, is the gentlest remedy. The end.